So you can start whenever you're ready.
I'm Michael Aghahowa. I'm a Lynn artist, activist, um, and that's me.
Dope. So we like to start our interviews with the first question. Are you hood grown? And if so, how does that influence your aesthetic?
Yeah, so I grew up in Lynn. So I actually grew up in my family's home that had been in the family for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And then I lived there until I was like 5 or 6, and me and my mom like moved around Lynn a lot. So I got to like see a lot of like different parts of Lynn and meet a lot of different people. And what I do know about some parts of Lynn, the parts that I've experienced is like being kind of rugged. Growing up in Lynn, there were like dumps where like trash dumps that you went around the corner from like my grandmother's house. It was like this lot where they just threw trash, like burned down buildings. Lynn used to like be a big manufacturer of shoes, so some of those buildings were still there before like they turned into the current businesses today. They were just like empty. Like you go in the windows and you see like drapery just like kind of hanging, just kind of like left in shambles. And I kind of like that look. I love like the look of the old buildings mixed with like the new infrastructure. Like, it's really cool. And so in my work, it's not really photorealistic. There's parts of it where you can still see the canvas, and there's like the kind of like the bare bones showing through. And I just think that's really fun for like the viewer to be able to see kind of like the inner workings of it. Feel like it makes it more like relatable.
Yeah, for sure. I do.
Yeah.
I do love your like the fact that you can kind of see your underpaintings under a lot of your paintings. I'm a big fan of that. So beautiful work. So before we get into talking about like your actual art making, how are you feeling right now? How are you coping? How are you caring for yourself during, a pandemic and our third wave of our civil rights movement?
Yeah. So COVID is like, it's really tough. I thought it was really cool at first. I was like, wow, like, there's like a cool like 2 weeks where I can just chill out, just do whatever. That, life is so go, 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 go. And it felt like a good break, but then it got like too much. I was spending time with my girlfriend, and I was like quarantining with her. And so it's cool because we were just like having these conversations, watching documentaries. And that was really fun. I think lately, now that the world is starting to open back up, I've been starting a garden with my mom. So like around the house, my grandmother used to take care of it. And she used to just be like outdoors and like keeping the house up outside. But now she's like older, so she can't do that. So now like we're out there and we're like, it's like a bonding experience. It's really cool.
For sure. So you got the green thumb now. It's passed down to you. Do you think you got it? Yeah.
I think so. So we've been doing that, going on walks. You ever been to Horn Pond?
No.
Horn Pond. Where's Horn Pond? It's like 30 minutes from me. I forget what city, but anyways, it's this cool pond, and they just got these geese everywhere. Like they got at least 5 families of geese.
There's so many geese around my neighborhood. I don't like geese. They just shit everywhere, man. They just make it impossible to walk. But it's good that you're going outside. You're taking care of yourself. That's what's up. So let's jump into your artwork. So I was first introduced to your work by your girlfriend. She definitely was like, hey, go check out his mural over there. And I was like, okay, girl, I got you. I think that was before y'all were official. So she kind of just was like, yeah, just go over there, check out Michael's work. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll do it. But I was first introduced to your work by seeing your mural that's on Andrew Street in Lynn. Can you tell us what it's like with working with so many little artist assistants? You had a lot of different folks working with you, which was really cute, which I really love. And the importance of this project to you, because I feel like it says so much about you as an activist, you as an artist, and you as a Lynn resident just by this one piece.
Yeah, so there were a lot of parts to it. And, while I was making it, it was like hard to explain because I was still trying to like put all the pieces together. Beyond Walls is like a 2 or 3 week project.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was working full time at the Greg House. Um, I actually went to the Greg House as a kid, and so I was inspired by some of the staff there that were artists. The crazy thing is they didn't even take art seriously. They just kind of like, yeah, I draw here and there, and they would like draw murals of like Looney Tunes and like in the gym and stuff, and I'd be like, this is so cool. But they never took it serious. So as a staff at the Greg House, meeting so many like young creatives, I just think like people in general are like naturally creative as kids, and somewhere
Mm-hmm.
along the lines, it usually gets like beaten out of kids because it's taught that like that's not gonna make any money, like be like something more practical. Um, and so when the kids would see me as an artist there, they would be like, wow, like my parents would never like let me do that. You know, from
Mm-hmm.
such a young age, they like be knowing that. And so I took it upon myself to, you know, being out in the community, and I had this mural opportunity. I was like, it would be dope if a few of the young kids could come help with this project. A lot of people grow up in Lynn and they don't have much Lynn pride. Um, like Lynn sucks, Lynn is this, Lynn is that. But I figured if they could come and help on a project like this that is like important to the community, they can grow up having a sense of pride. You know, they can see themselves on the wall. So yeah, I painted the mural, and I had the graffiti club at the Greg House come and help. And it was really fun. You know, they had a good time explaining to them what the mural was about,
Mm-hmm.
which it's about the celebration of young people's art. So they drew their houses, and all I did was blow it up. So that the way that the houses are on the mural is exactly how they drew and exactly how they colored it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to celebrate that because like that's their artwork, that's their home, that's their interpretation of their home. And the whole thing about them holding up their homes was the gentrification happening. And these young people that should be able to afford to live here when they're older. No one, they shouldn't have to like be displaced
Mm-hmm.
because of development. And then another part of the mural was the fact that the murals themselves have a part in the gentrification. So I never really called myself a mural artist. I was part of a mural group called Good to Go at Raw, where we went around the city and we painted murals. And that was like by Lynn artists. So like naturally they reflected the community in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think this kind of bleeds into our next question, though. I think you're segueing quite nicely. So you're talking about murals and their effects and their changes in gentrification, right? Their role in the changes that happen to a city or a town. How do you feel about the changes that are happening to your city because of Beyond Walls, Lynn? And how has the new art around you inspired you? Maybe it's inspiring you, but also how has it changed the population, if at all? And how does it reflect the city of Lynn, if at all, these new pieces that are popping up?
um, I I am inspired. I think that like a few of the murals are like pretty, like you can see the talent. Like it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
amazing. These people that go like around the world, around the country, painting these huge murals, and so they're really good at what they do. I think most of them don't do a good job of reflecting the community. I think Lynn is such a historic space, um, that it doesn't even get told in Lynn public schools or like Lynn schools. The history is not really talked about, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really unfortunate because a person like Frederick Douglass lived here for at least a decade in a
Right
city
behind
that
you.
he's right behind me, you know, and so in a city that has so many immigrant families, that is a story that can be so empowering,
Mm-hmm.
not only to immigrants but to like Blacks. It's just the ultimate story of perseverance. Like
Mm-hmm.
you grow up in slavery, which is like meant to control you, and there's no way that you can be successful as a slave. Everything is taken from you. Your name, like you're not even a human, right? So he escaped that. He taught himself how to read and write, and then he goes around the world like with his enlightened mind. and he's like telling everybody about the horrors of slavery and, you know, just empowering people. I think that's such a beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and for that not to be told in the city, I think that's like very detrimental.
Yeah, so the art could definitely be doing more, for sure.
It could be doing way more. And so that's where I feel like I come in as an artist, especially like speaking up for my own city. I think every artist should speak up for their own city, but I just felt like almost disrespected in a way when some of these murals just put in some of these places, just they could do better.
Right. A lot of them are just cool. Like some of them really don't even have any message at all. Some are really beautiful. There are some beautiful portraits of, you know, Black and brown people, which are done really well, and that's really nice to see. But yeah, you're right. There are some just like gorillas in some areas and like random other things that are really cool. They're really cool looking. And we did like we went over like Beyond Walls Lynn, and I saw that there are a lot of like artists of color that are being shown too. But I totally get what you're talking about of not reflecting the residents or the community at all. It'd be nice if someone, you know, came in and talked to people first before doing art. That would be weird, right?
I agree. I felt like they just popped up out of nowhere. And even like some of the rhetoric when they would like speak publicly was weird because, you know, like they're not from Lynn. So, you know, they would say things that were disrespectful. Like they'd be downtown and be like, oh, this is like the most dangerous part of Lynn. And it's like, you know, what do you really know about that? And I feel like it goes hand in hand with the development that's going on because there's a lot of things that they could do in the city to better the city without like, you know, like a lot of the parks, a lot of the basketball courts are like just like in crappy condition. Why do some of the basketball courts not have lights? You know, light those up at night so people can play. You know, the fireworks were going on for so long, and people in the community, oh, like these kids lighting these fireworks. Well, there's nothing for us to do. You know what I mean? People are bored. You know, like give like the residents an outlet. I feel like the city is doing so much to attract people from the outside in when they should start from the inside out.
That's a beautiful sentiment. I think every political figure should have that kind of mindset when they're trying to get more people into their city. Improve it.
Cinder does.
Yeah, right. That's for sure. That's for sure. So can you tell me about your self-portrait entitled Not Me? A lot of your portraits, I've seen that you kind of explore the gaze and and often you're working with, you know, the gaze of another subject, someone you're painting, and that is a gaze you can't necessarily change or affect that much because they are making their own face expression. But how is it when you are deciding the gaze, when you are the subject?
So I think that portrait started the whole gaze in my work. And it was important at the time, and it still is, but especially at the time because I was in college and it was my senior year. And so like all 3 years prior, built up this skill and this voice in myself through my experiences and through like my amazing teachers. So Montserrat College of Art is like a mostly white school. And so
I know.
I had spent my early 20s in college. I had turned 21 in college, so you know I'd be out at bars and I'd be just like out around the city, and I'd have these weird experiences. Like I'd be out at bars, just like chilling, and like these like white dudes would come up to me and be like, I'm not racist, you know, like all in my face, and just like trying to prove that they're not racist when I'm just chilling, you know, I don't know these people. And such bizarre experiences when me and my friends would just be out. I had a friend in college tell me about his idea of me, like upon first meeting me and like what he came to know me as, since he didn't really grow up with the Black people in his community or in his high school. I was a lot of people's first Black friend. So I honestly felt felt like what he told me was pretty honest, and it just made me think like how many other people have this idea. So I made this portrait, and I'm dressed as a clown, and it's referring to Jim Crow propaganda and the whole blackface and stuff. And I'm wearing a bow tie, and the bow tie's got these like watermelon seeds on it, and then the suit is like the watermelon stripes, the green. And it's really just asking like, is this really what you think of me? Like all these stereotypes. He was like, oh, like I just thought you were too cool for school. Like I didn't think like your artwork would be held. I didn't think your artwork would be like as good as it is. Like the watermelon eating, big lip, like those stereotypes. So I was like, is this really what you see when you see me? And actually, I'm a pretty happy person. I'm smiley. I'm friendly. I like to talk to people. So it was important. Can you still see me?
Yeah, you're good.
It was important for me to portray myself this very like stoic, serious look. Because also in Jim Crow propaganda, it's always like this clown is like laughing and
the cheery, the weird face.
Weird. It's like there's
a smile that goes beyond the face, like how?
There's nothing funny about that. Real lives are being affected, and I was coming at people in the college, and I was coming at America as a whole, because there's just been no accountability for the way that people of color have been treated. And it's really disrespectful.
Yeah, for sure.
So that whole gaze started with that portrait, because I'm asking the serious question. And I want people to engage with it. Like when someone's, their eye contact is really strong and it's almost intimidating, and you want to look away. I almost wanted to like create that feeling.
Yeah, an uncomfortable connection to the image. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful, well-rendered painting, but I did still feel that like uncomfortableness of like looking at this portrait of you. So well done.
Thank you.
I'm gonna like swap these questions around just so you know. You designed the Bentwater Brewing Company beer can label last year. How has digital design impacted your style of work, if at all?
So I use a program called Procreate, which is pretty dope. I use it today to sketch for a lot of my paintings and a lot of different things. It's really fun actually sketching on there. But I think my digital work is a little bit different. I haven't really found a way to combine the two. And same thing with my collages. But like we'll get into that.
Yeah,
that's a different.
That's my next question. But yeah, I just wanted to lead into your other works beyond painting, right? So you have been diving into digital work a bit, but you also have a section on your website called Scraps, where you explore collage. Do you think you'll like morph these techniques into your paintings, or do you view your collage and your painting in a similar way?
Yeah, I definitely view them in a similar way. I think upon first glance, they may look pretty different, but in collage, it's like pure abstraction, right? You're working with shapes and colors and like how to like compose that kind of image without anything being so representational. Because in my paintings, it's like people could be like, that's a person. But in my collage, it's just like, a lot of people are like, well, what is that? But they inform my paintings because there's parts of the painting that need to be more highlighted. There's like dark parts, you're controlling where you want the eye to go. And I feel like my collages help me, help my composition. They just help my composition in general.
Yeah, dope.
In some paintings, you can see more where they intersect. Like on my website, there's a painting of my friend Maria, and there's like a red, it's over here, so I'm looking. So there's like a red square and there's some stripes, and it's just like the curve that you see sometimes in my collages. So yeah, sometimes they do intersect, but I see my collages as like 3D objects, and and I would like to try to create them like large. I see them as like large structures in a space, and so there's a question about like next steps.
Would you ever
And
see yourself painting on top of a collage? Sorry to interrupt you. I was just like, whoa, what if that happened?
I haven't thought of that,
Mm.
but I can see myself doing that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to work larger with collage, but the problem is I can't find pieces of paper like big enough to to make like large ones like my paintings. So they end up being kind of like little like handheld, cool like collectible type items.
Yeah.
Which I also liked. I like that idea.
Also, I'm just gonna like throw out ideas at you because I'm in like the mood to do it. Because you mentioned at the beginning of our interview, you talked about how you loved the aesthetics of Lynn and like the buildings that were kind of coming apart. I don't know how much access you have to these like abandoned buildings, but they often have like fabrics and papers that are like from those spaces. I think it would be so cool to see your paintings on these like real materials. I don't know, just throwing it out there. Just my teacher spirit. I just like to throw ideas at people and go, I don't know, you do something with it, see what happens. That's what I do to my students all the time. I don't know, I just have an idea, let's see. So yeah, so just see.
Thank you for that. I love that. That's the beauty about collaborating, right? You got like different ideas being thrown at you.
Yeah, and you can use it if you want. If you don't, that's all right. It's whatever. Right. Someone listening might use that idea. I don't know. Use it, guys. Yeah. So what's next for you in your work?
So what's next? So I've been talking to a few friends, and the hip hop scene in Lynn is pretty dope. And so I would like to highlight that. I listen to a lot of hip hop. I listen to, even when I'm making my collages, I'm listening to hip hop, and sometimes I interpret like the colors and the different pops as like the drums and like the different melodies. Obviously in a different medium because it's paper, but the hip hop scene in Lynn is dope, and I would like to. You remember those old hip hop posters where it'd be like the legends? It'd be like Biggie, and they got like Lisa Left Eye, and they're like the black and white, and they're just like portraits, and they're all like just together.
What essentially what's on Drake's back right now after he tattooed all of those faces on his back?
Oh, I haven't even seen that.
That's pretty much what it looks like. One of those old magazines. He just has a bunch of random people on his back.
Wow.
But yes, go on. I was just throwing out a comedic reference. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I would like to do that, but like with Lynn, the Lynn hip hop artist. My friends that I grew up with and like some other people like around the city that make really good music. And we're actually trying to get it to be a mural in the city. So yeah, it could be cool because, hopefully some of these artists like go somewhere with their music and like they connect with the masses, and it would be really cool for them to shoot their videos in front of it, or like, people to come see the wall. Lynn just got a lot of creativity, and I like to highlight it.
Yeah, and it's an intersection between visual art and hip hop. I think everyone forgets that one of the 5 key elements of hip hop is graffiti, which is a visual art, and we always get forgotten that like somehow dance and music are the only elements of hip hop. Nah, B, y'all know that art was always there, so it's good to like have that connection and keep those connections between visual artists and musicians.
That's right. Even the portrait in like hip hop albums, Drake's, Nas, Biggie, like all these portraits, they're all there. So.
Yeah. Alrighty. Thank you so much for talking with me about your work. Can you lastly tell us where people can find your work, your Insta, website? We'll put that all in the show notes, but it's also good to hear it in your voice.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at _Aghahowa, AGHAHOWA. You can find my scraps page also on my Instagram. It's in my bio, and yeah, you can catch me like walking downtown or at the Lydia Pinkham building where my studio is on Weston Ave, right across from Kennedy's Fried Chicken. You know, get you a box of chicken and some fries.
Then come hang out and see some art.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you as well. It was such a pleasure to do this interview.
Oh, great.
Meet you.
Yeah, virtually meet. It's always good to virtually meet.
When the world opens back up, we'll in person.
Yeah, we'll do that.